Macmillan Audio presents They Must Be Stopped. Why We Must Defeat Radical Islam and How We Can Do It. By Brigitte Gabriel. Read for you by the author. Millions of civilized people have been shaken to their core as they continue to absorb the news stories grabbing headlines around the world. A mother and father flying from England to the United States filled their 6-month-old baby's milk bottle with explosives, turning the child into a human bomb in hopes of killing hundreds by blowing up their plane in midair. Doctors driving highly explosive car bombs into the same hospitals in which they practice, bent on killing the same patients they treated the night before and killing the same colleagues they sipped coffee with the previous morning. Students born, bred, and educated in Western colleges, driven by a holy Islamic mission, plotting to kill their teachers, government leaders, and employers. What will be the next story of an attack against the civilized world to assail our moral conscience? Islamic terrorist attacks on innocent civilians is not an issue of the right or left. It cannot be classified as an American, British, French, Australian, Canadian, Iraqi or Pakistani issue. It is an international issue and problem affecting the basis of Western civilization. Islamic terrorism threatens the safety and security of millions around the world, regardless of the passport we hold, the nation we reside in, the language we speak, or the currency we exchange. The modern world is a global community that works together to prosper, invent, advance, exchange, and grow for the benefit of all. Islamic radicals are working against the goals of the global community. They consider their 7th century repressive ideology supreme and are trying to impose it on as many nations as they can. The threat of Islamic terrorism has already cost the civilized world billions of dollars in security provisions, countless hours of inconvenience and delay, and immeasurable work to institute programs and procedures to protect the civilian population. Security measures at airports are extensive wherever you are: New York, Sydney, London, Paris, Madrid, Toronto, or Tel Aviv. Every person who travels is aware of this threat. The initial Islamic war Muhammad declared on the infidels, the original Islamic war, has re-emerged and is ramping up its attacks on freedom-loving people. As I recounted in my book, Because They Hate, while growing up in Lebanon, I witnessed and experienced the horror and terror this neo-jihad wreaks on civilians, nations, and societies. After having lived in a bomb shelter for 7 years and having seen most of my childhood friends killed by Islamic militants, I understand from first-hand experience the chilling implications of this original jihad inspired by the Prophet Muhammad. This call to jihad is a declaration of war that is reverberating throughout an emboldened Muslim world. Its historically proven implications can be ignored only at our own peril. This declaration of war has not come from nationals of a particular country. They owe allegiance only to Muhammad's original ideology. They represent no country. They do not wear the uniforms of a country's armed forces. They are doctors dressed in white, mothers and fathers with babies wrapped in blankets, or students wearing jeans. They exhibit a ruthless and brutal disregard for any rules of war that speak to the treatment of civilians. The reason is simple. According to the original Islam of Muhammad, there are no innocent civilians. Radical Islamists consider all people in or out of military uniform who do not believe in the original Islam of Muhammad to be the enemy until they convert or are subject to Islamic law. This is why they must be stopped. These Islamists' devotion to the ideology of true Islam has become legendary. Even so-called moderate Muslims who don't agree with these jihadists' devotion to the purest form of Islam or their terror tactics respect their passion and commitment. It is this very passion and devotion that is causing the ranks of original Islam to swell, especially with younger Muslims. The imams, clerics, and mullahs who exhort Muslims to take up the cause of jihad do so.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?